Hopefully this is coming across. Oh, it looks like it is. Okay. So let's talk Astros, guys. It's ALCS game day. Hey, let's take a look at what we have on LarryTheGM.com. Folks that are on the site already know we put out the ALCS matchup guide, guys. If you love your Astros, you want to understand what's happening. I I cannot encourage you any more than I'm about to go read this guide. It's been out 3 hours. Before we get done, hopefully we will address any questions that come in. Let me get the YouTube page. Let me get this up. Let's see here. Yeah, there we go. Watch myself live. There we go. If I see, guys, I'm learning. So if I fail you, please forgive me. I am not 100% sure how to even see the chat. I know that sounds stupid. Sorry about that. You see. All right. Well, let's talk about what's in the article. So, guys, there's a mountain of data here. I would say to you guys, and part of the reason I'm doing this video is just because I know how much data there's in this article. Let's talk about the two teams, their relative status coming into the game. I'll just say this: the Astros are in a lot better shape. In fact, I saw something like the Astros have played 3 games in the last 13 days or something like that. I don't know exactly what it is. So if anything, the Astros are too rested. I don't, hope they've surely they have gone and they're doing some things um, to be able to they've done some simulated games and stuff like that. But yeah, the Astros are so rested that oh, turn that down. Sorry about that. I've got the chat on my phone just because I know I can see it that way. And if somebody joins, I think we've got a few people in the room. So cool. All right. So let's talk about the Astros are well rested. Everybody is available. And Seth Martinez is on the roster. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. The Yankees have used their top 2 pitchers, Garrett Cole in game 4 on the 16th, not available today. Nestor Cortez last night in game 5, not available. They used Clay Holmes for the 3rd time in 5 days. I don't think he's available just because of what Boone has done in the past. They used Elizoga for 25 pitches yesterday. I don't think they're going to want to go back to him. They used Peralta for 16 pitches yesterday. That's the 4th time he's pitched in the last 5 days. I don't think he's available. Those are 3, if not the 3 best relief pitchers the Yankees have, and I don't think they want to use any of them tonight. They may choose to use Clay Holmes on a back-to-back, but Boone specifically shied away from doing that in the CS. So let's just say the Astros have an advantage for game 1, probably have an advantage that held in the game 2. On the site also, I put in this table. This is essentially My table for tracking availability, tracking how well rested a player is. So here we are for tonight's game, and this column is tonight. And you can see that the Astros totally green, ready to go. Yankees, as I said, Garrett Cole, Nestor Cortez, unavailable, red. Loizica, not pure green, a little shade of green, which means, yeah, they could pitch him if they wanted to. One of the things I don't have fully comprehended how to do with this kind of analysis is like the multiple days of rest. Wandy Peralta probably should have, but he pitches like every other day for that team. So yeah, they're good. So Caleb, I see your comment. No more Dubon. Yeah, we'll get there. Okay, he's on the roster. So let's talk about the schedule. So who I think is pitching in these games. So they've got Talion pitching tonight. Obviously, the Astros are going to go with Verlander. I believe the Astros will use Valdez tomorrow. I believe they will go Severino. No, I do not think they will go Cole on 3 days rest. They will go Severino game 2. Then I think the Yankees' best chance of winning a game is probably game 3. They'll go Cole in game 3. I have McCullers going in game 3 for the Astros. Then I've got Javier going in game 4. I believe they'll bring Cortez back on full rest in game 5. That'll be a tight match. Then this is where it gets interesting because there's 5 straight games. I just got off Twitter Space talking about this. Verlander could come back on 4 days of rest, full normal rest for game 5. If they're down or if it's even, they may choose to do that. But at the end of the day, somebody's gonna have to pitch on short rest, or you're gonna use a fifth starter. What do I mean by that? Well, if you had Verlander and Valdez pitch, game 5 and 6, then you're gonna go back to McCullers on 3 days rest, or you could just say, hey, it's a bullpen day. I don't think you're gonna. There's. I don't think you do that. I mean, I think for the Astros, you take advantage of the fact that you have like 7 starting pitchers you're willing to pitch. Garcia, after such a great AL DS performance, yeah, I put if the Astros are up 3-1, I am putting Luis Garcia in for game 5. If it's 2-2 or they're down 1-3, then I reserve the right to change my mind. The the Yankees will probably go Talon in game 5, Severino on full rest in game 6, and then they're going to go to Cole. I think they've pretty much already said they're going to do this. They're going to go to Cole for game 7 on 3 days rest if we get there. I don't think we're going to get there, but I mean you have to allow for this 5-game stretch in the ALCS or in any league championship series. For them to do this is adding an element to the postseason championship series, league championship series that there's never been before. Because normally there's an off day between game 5 and game 6. Not this year. So Adam, you said Vasquez is the Yankee killer, but probably only gets maybe 2 starts. It's a shame he doesn't get at least a split. Yeah, I was thinking about that. The 2 batters on the Astros that know the Yankees the best are the 2 we traded for, right? It's almost like the Astros knew that we needed some AL East players on the team because we were going to eventually play the Yankees in the postseason. It's pretty interesting. You know, I've been fighting Dusty all year long, or at least since the trade deadline, about using Mancini more and using Vasquez more. Understand Mancini's had a rough stretch. I Let's see how that plays out. Dusty said something to the effect about Maldonado. I don't. If you guys can chat me, what exactly Dusty said about Maldonado? It's almost like Yeah, I think he's resigned to the fact that he's not playing Maldonado every game this series, which I guess is a little bit of progress. Um, but we'll get to that. What the matchups say about that. So that's an interesting way to look at the pitching, the starting pitching at least. All right, so here the next table for folks that have been on the LarryTheGM site, you guys know what this is. This is the heat map. You'll notice that the Yankees delivered 35.1 WAR to the. I'm sorry, no, they delivered over here 54.7 WAR to the Astros 56.6. The Yankees actually delivered more WAR batting than the Astros did. They were second in the league, and the Astros were sixth. Pitching wise, the Yankees were seventh at 19.6 to the Astros number one at 27. So it's really interesting, though. You go through this list with the Yankees, they they've done fairly well in a lot of positions. Shortstop is probably their lowest rank, uh, but their starting pitching is not as strong. A lot of that has to do with injury. So just something to consider there. So we're gonna let's talk about that Yankees pitching staff. So here we go. Talked about Gary Cole, Jameson Taillon, Nestor Cortez, Luis Severino, and I had Domingo Herman as a potential game their fifth starter if they followed the pattern the Astros are going to follow. I don't think they're going to do that. They've already, I think, resigned themselves to the fact if they get to a game seven, they're going to go with Cole on 3 days rest because otherwise Cole's only pitching one game in this series. So they got Clay Holmes, Lou Trevino, Jonathan Loaizaga, Wandy Peralta. They have used Holmes and Peralta a lot this season and have relied on them heavily in the ALDS. You see the rest of the staff. Apparently, they took Lukey off. They added Weissert, which is a younger, been in the minor leagues most of the season, and they added Montas. I will fix this. They didn't add Abreu. They added Montas and Weissert. So we'll see how that plays out. I guess they added Montas as somebody that can give them some length through those, especially that 5 game stretch. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I'll get some data in there. I will pull the uh, expected WOBA stats, and you'll see them in the tables. So let's look at the Yankees batting. So one thing you're going to see with, especially when we get to the matchup guide, is how dependent the Yankees offense is on Aaron Judge. Now, I know there's a lot of discussion about MVPs and people not wanting to say Aaron Judge has been the MVP. Guys, if you really understand the Yankees offense, look at the OPS line. Aaron Judge is by far their best batter, and it's not even close. Matt Carpenter's down here with 154 at bats and had only 2 uh, plate appearances in the ALCS. One thing that also came out today is Aaron Hicks is not on the ALCS roster. So the question is, well, what are they going to do for left field? They added Peraza, and they took Marwin Gonzalez off. Tim Locastro hasn't played very much. I think what they're going to end up doing, guys, is they're going to put Stanton in left. I don't know if you guys will have to go look, but I don't think Isaiah Connor Falefa has played left. I guess they could put Cabrera in left and put Connor Falefa back at shortstop. That may be possible too. Or they're going to put Stanton in left, and they'll DH Carpenter if he can handle it versus the lefties or versus the right-handed pitchers at least. So some really interesting dynamics that's not in the article yet, but we'll talk about it. But see, I had thought about maybe they were going to get LeMahieu in. Didn't happen. So LeMahieu must still be hurt. So that's a pretty serious blow because he would have been a really good bat for this offense. What I do say here is that this offense is really top heavy for the top two, three, well, I guess four batters, and then it it looks somewhat like the Astros bottom, maybe not quite as bad as the bottom of our lineup, but not a great, not a great, 7, 8, 9 in their lineup either. So if you compare these guys from an OPS basis, you just take the nine starters and the nine starters, and Aaron Hicks will no longer be in this table. You can see that the Astros have pretty significant advantages over some of these guys all the way down. And so it'll be interesting to see how they position. The answer may be Connor Falefa at short and Cabrera in left. Uh, Connor Falefa is 641 though, so he's basically the same spot as Aaron Hicks. So what about the Astros pitching? You guys know it well. One thing to see about this they're going to call David Justice in. Hey, David Justice may be about as healthy as some of these other Yankees players. You look at this, look at the staff, the red. You guys know the LarryTheGM heat map. Red is good, blue is bad, and for there to be that much red is just telling. It's pretty awesome. So here we go. Let's go down to the batting. The batting again, a little top heavy, but you got Chas McCormick down there at a 114 WRC plus in the bottom part of the lineup. Trey Mancini, if he would ever get hot, um, would be would be phenomenal. So you guys know it. It's all about Jordan Alvarez and Alex Bregman, Kyle Tucker, and Jose Altuve. Those four are just incredible. So what I did is I took the WRC pluses and I weighted them with the plate appearances during the season and the innings pitched during the season, and you kind of get a weighted average of the WRC of the expected WOBAs. You can see the pitching staff. Actually, the Yankees pitching is a little bit better versus righties than the Astros. That's so statistically essentially the same. It doesn't matter. The Yankees 291 and Astros 270. The Astros are just phenomenal. Again, I'm sorry. This is supposed to be lefties. Batting, you see the batting advantage the Astros have fairly large. Yeah, and good call there, Adam. Hensley really might have some key pinch hits. I don't have enough data in there really when we get to the matchup guy to really call out where Hensley would be the best. But he has been phenomenal batting since being called up in his limited 34 plate appearances. It'll be really interesting to see what he's able to do in the ALCS. All right, so let's get to the matchup, guys. So this is what you pay me for. I wish you did pay me, but I'm just teasing. Here's the Astros pitching staff. What we're doing here is we're pulling the data from Baseball Savant. We're getting their pitch distribution. So for Verlander, 49.4% fastballs, 35% sliders, 14.4% curves versus a right-handed batter. And this is the expected WOBA stats. So when Justin Verlander throws a fastball, four-seam fastball to a right-handed hitter, those right-handed hitters hit that ball at a clip of 309 expected WOBA. This is so you can see all the red on here, and notice the sliders. The Astros just phenomenal slider pitchers. The curveballs, you can see the effect. So righties, lefties. This is the pitch table. Do the same thing for the batters. So here with the batters, you've got those same pitches and how well when a right-hander throws Jose Altuve a four-seam fastball, he hits that fastball at a clip of 404 x WOBA, and you can see all the different stats. So where I don't have numbers in here, there wasn't, and even some of the numbers I do have for both these tables is it's a challenge saying whether or not they're statistically significant or not. If I didn't put it in there, there's no way. I haven't seen enough of those pitches to put in this table. Let's scroll down for the Astros. Yeah, and Caleb, good point. The matchup of Verlander with Talion. If the Yankees win tonight, if you're a betting man, pay whatever you have to pay for the betting on the Astros, and so and then the sliders. You can see, Astro batters don't do that great against the sliders. It's not just Pena's actually gotten better through the year. You can see that Pena is actually still struggling against the changeups, the curves, and the sinkers. Changeups are probably his worst pitch, both righty and lefty. Uh, Curves, he hits lefty curves good, but he does not hit righty curves good or well. So there you go. There's the Astros table. There's the Yankees table. So I'll update this with a couple of the additional. Oh, I gotta go fix this, guys. Sorry, it's not in there. That's the Seattle table. I will fix that. No, I missed that. Okay, I'll fix that. Yankees table will be in there. Yankees batting table. It was late night last night, guys. Sorry about that. No one told me it's not in there. I missed it. Right, Gleyber Torres and the Yankees lineup. This is the way their lineup looks. So the magic of this process is when you take that Justin Verlander data, what his pitches are, and then you take the Yankees batting versus right-handed pitcher. You put that data down here, and then you come over here and you're calculating out what the expected WOBAs would be for Gleyber Torres hitting a right-handed pitching Verlander with this pitch distribution, this quality of those right-handed pitches, to how well he hits those kind of pitches, and you calculate an expected WOBA. That's what I do for every single pitcher, every single batter that I expected to see. I will make the adjustment for those few pitchers, those few pitchers that are needed to be changed, and I'll add Martinez to the Astros data. With a pitcher like Seth Martinez, I don't have a ton of innings, so maybe quite a bit of yellow. With the yellows, the spots where the data's not good enough. So here's the Yankees versus the Astros pitcher. Notice the sea of blue in this table. In fact, notice the most red column in this table is Will Smith. And even the Will Smith, as he's been pitching with the Astros, which is significantly better than the year of Will Smith, was still quite a bit of red in there. Where like you just never were going to hit Aaron Judge versus Will Smith. So you can see this is why Will Smith's not on the roster. But if you believe he was who he's been as the Astros, which isn't a very statistically significant sample size, or if you believe in Will Smith who he's been all year, Will Smith who he's been all year, you don't want anything to do with him in this series. So there you go. And this is why I said I don't think Will Smith's going to be on the roster. Let's see if I'll put in the table. I will substitute Will Smith. I will put Seth Martinez in this table, and we'll see how it looks. So you see Jose Urquidy is a little red centric here. So Urquidy's probably the last pitcher on the staff that's on the roster right now that the Astros would want to choose to use. Yes, Adam. The Astros still won that trade because Will Smith, Astros version of Will Smith is really good, and plus they got a year off. The payroll implications, getting out of Rizzi's contract next year. It's a win-win. So here's the Astros hitters versus those Yankee pitchers that you don't have the detailed data yet, but you will. There's still a lot of red, a lot of blue in this table too, because guys, the Yankees pitchers are good, and but notice there's one constant from and there's one constant when we talk about the Astros. Period is Jordan Alvarez. Look at the Jordan Alvarez line here, guys. Jordan Alvarez is he's a beast. The only pitcher, just just know that when Jordan Alvarez is coming to the plate, the Yankees are going to want Wandy Peralta to pitch to him. That's what this one light blue spot on this entire table for Jordan Alvarez. Notice that Kyle Tucker's got quite a bit of red. He's got some blue as well. But notice in between, and so the Nationals hold this lineup. If they bring Wandy Peralta in to face Jordan Alvarez and Kyle Tucker, as they should, you notice that Alex Bregman's sitting there with a 324 expected WOBA. So we got a runner at second. Nobody out. They're bringing in. We got Jeremy Pena standing on second base. They bring in Wandy Peralta, the pitch to Alvarez. He gets him out, strikes him out or something. Alex Bregman may get him. And so there's a little bit of the beauty of the Astros lineup there. That's also the way to kind of understand this table. The Astros are going to look for the favorable matchups, and the Yankees are going to look for the blues, right? And so notice here against Nestor Cortez, the second highest rated Astro that night will be Chas McCormick. Chas McCormick has been destroying left-handed pitching this year, and Chas McCormick would destroy Wandy Peralta supposedly, but would project to. Sorry, I say these things in absolute. I should put the disclaimers. Would project to, but instead, you also see on this table Trey Mancini. Trey Mancini overall weighted average 299 is like maybe the fifth or sixth best on the Astros. So hey, that would be good. All right, so what I did is I just kind of summarize it with Trey Mancini. You take what the expected WOBA averages versus the starting pitchers. You take the expected WOBA averages versus the relief pitchers. Look and you average those out. Notice how the only batter that's really expected to have a good series against the Astros pitching is Aaron Judge. So if the Astros are able to effectively pitch around or strike out Aaron Judge, these are going to be some low-scoring games. This is what this table says, and I'll get to the Astros table in a minute. This is some really challenging data for the Yankees. Similar, it's not great for the Astros either. You got Altuve there with the 310, which is league average. So Jose Altuve will hit. The way to think about that is Jose Altuve will hit like an average. Sorry about my nose is itching, guys. I guess allergies are kicking in. The Jose Altuve will hit the Yankees in this series like a league average batter. And so, but Alvarez is going to rake, Tucker's going to semi-rake, and Bregman a little bit above league average. But you see the relative list here. What I will say also here, in the website, you see an article I wrote about Yuli Gurriel and how he had a great game one, and how I was struggling with that. Well, not struggling. I was really happy about it, but I couldn't explain it. Why was Gurriel having this great ALCS or ALDS when his statistics for the matchup looked similar? They weren't exactly this, but looked similar to it. And the answer is he got a lot of rest. And I think, I went back and I showed how Yuri Gurriel with the day off before a game was a much better Actually, it looked like the Yuri Gurriel of 2021 versus the Yuri Gurriel of 2022. So you're going to have Gurriel have a good rest for today. He might have pretty decent rest for tomorrow. I mean, he will. In other words, the residual effect of all that rest. Then he'll have a day off before Game 3. The question is, what sort of Yuri Gurriel do we get after Game 3? I believe the Astros might sit him on Game 5. Remind myself who the Game 5 starter is. Would that make sense? Game 5 starter, Talion. So you could go after Talion with Mancini and Diaz, and probably do just as well. Let's see. So let's see in the summary data for Talion right here. Oh, Talion. So who would project to be good? Yeah, I mean you could go with Diaz 284. Mancini 337 definitely needs to play, and Gurriel 254. So yeah, you could definitely make the Diaz substitution there. So we could get a better version of Gurriel if we're able to give him a little rest. That's what that data says. Okay, so both teams have a lot of blue in their tables, guys. Do not be mad at Jeremy Pena if he does not hit versus the Yankees bullpen. He's not projected to hit very well versus the Yankees bullpen. Okay? Be thrilled if he does. Say that now. Here's the way, if you take all that data and you sort it, who's going to do well, who's going to do poorly. I don't know. The Yankees must have came to the same conclusion, all right? The reason Marwin Gonzalez is not on the roster is he was projected to be absolutely horrible in this series. If there's ever a validation of the LarryTheGM method, there it is. Marwin Gonzalez, 187 expected WOBA, not on the ALCS roster. Jake Myers, projected to be 215 for the Astros, not on the ALCS roster. They went with Dubon at 234 instead. All right, so let's talk about the pitching staff. You do the same thing with the pitching, and you see the projected WOBA's stats, and in this case, low is good, right? Because you don't want the hitters to hit. Notice that Presley and Javier, Montero, and Verlander are the ones that are in the deeper red. You notice that Clay Holmes is going to have a good series. Clark Schmidt would supposedly is projected to have a good series. Now, this is an argument against the LarryTheGM system. They left Lucas off the roster, so either he's hurt because he didn't. I don't think he pitched very much, or something's going on there. So what does it all say? I think the Astros take advantage of this. I'm gonna highlight that. I'm gonna dwell. Will Smith says very few favorable matchups. I would not send to see the Astros as Seth Martinez instead. I wrote that before the rosters came out. Okay. The Astros should take advantage of exhausted Yankees team early in the series. This series is pretty tight, but the Astros pitching projects to shut down the Yankees, and I think the Astros win in 6. That's what I say. Caleb, Adam, anybody else here? Other questions? I know we got 5 guys, four people watching. Anything else you guys want to ask while we're here? You got LarryTheGM on YouTube Live. Any other questions? You 2 more minutes. Let me check my notes. Make sure I got everything I wanted to talk about. Looks like I do. Last call. All right, well, guys, thanks for joining. And let's root for our Astros tonight at 6:30. I guess 6:37 opening pitch. Leave your comments on the. Oh, I guess I see a question. Bell or Brave at first next year? Well, let's worry about next year. Caleb, would JJ have made sense over DuPont? Well, Caleb, you're giving me trouble. Purely by the stats, yes. I didn't push as hard because JJ's number was not that big. So Dubon does have some positional flexibility that with that, 12-point expected wool gap, you can make the argument it's not worth it. Uh, Plus, the reality is the JJ Matijevic, um, the JJ Matijevic stats. There's a lot. There's too many slots that did not have enough data. Uh, Too many pitches I did not have enough data on JJ Matijevic. He just didn't have enough at bats. So I don't know how much I can really trust the projection. So basically, I don't have him against any of the starters, the pitcher mix. So you know, and he wouldn't really do that great against Clay Holmes either. So pick your poison against Clay Holmes, Dubon or or Matijevic. I don't think either one's going to get the pinch hit. I think Tinsley's going to get the pinch hit in most of the situations, or Diaz. Um, so there you go. All right, guys. Thank you for joining. It was awesome to have some folks there. I will say, please like the video. Please subscribe on the YouTube channel. Please subscribe at LarryTheGM.com. And until next time, thanks, and let's go Astros.